Welcome to the self-study online course on tips for chapter secretaries. My name is Kathleen and I will be your narrator for this course. I am very excited that you are using this self-study course to get a few tips on being a chapter secretary. Your role as a chapter secretary is an important one, and throughout this course you will learn what those roles are and get a chance to practice some of them. If you have never taken an online course, please don't be intimidated. This course is designed to be very user-friendly and was produced as a video for easy operation. At any time, you can pause, rewind, or fast-forward the video in order to review the material further. If you have a question that is not answered by this video, please write it down. Then you can contact your field representative later to receive clarification. Before we get started, I would encourage you to be in a place where it is quiet and you can work through this material uninterrupted. It is also best that you view this course at a location where you know there is no question about whether or not you have permission to use the computer that you are at, and that permission extends to using the internet for union-related business. Now that we have the formal welcome and introduction finished, why don't we get started on the material? I would first like to start by thanking you for taking on the role of chapter secretary. I am not only speaking for myself when I say thank you, I am speaking for your membership, other chapter officers, and your state elected officers as well. Some of you may have known what you were volunteering to do, while others may still be asking yourselves that very question. Well, what does it mean to be the chapter secretary? What is your role and what responsibilities do you have as the secretary? Did you know that you have access to these very questions? You can find the answers to some of your questions by accessing your chapter bylaws. Your chapter bylaws are posted online at PSE's state website, and in a moment I will explain how you can find them. Every set of bylaws will define the role of secretary. The important thing to remember is that not all bylaws are the same, so it is extremely important that you check your chapter bylaws and what they say about the role of secretary. Depending on the size of your chapter, your bylaws may combine the role of secretary with the treasurer, so you can see that it would be important to know if you also need to fill those shoes. Let me give you a couple of examples on how bylaws can be different when it comes to defining the role of secretary. Evergreen PSE Bylaws, Section 5.5.3, Duties of Secretary. The Secretary shall ensure that the minutes of general membership meetings and board meetings are duly recorded. It shall be the duty of the Secretary to keep all records of the chapter, the board, oversee and certify all elections, and to perform such other official functions as the President and Board may direct. And let's take a look at Richland Paraeducators Bylaws. Section 5.5.3, Secretary Membership Officer. The Secretary Membership Officer shall ensure that the minutes of general membership meetings and Board of Trustee meetings are duly recorded. It shall be the duty of the Secretary to keep all records of the chapter, the Board of Trustees, and to perform such other official functions as the President and Board of Trustees may direct. It shall be the duty of the Secretary Membership Officer to maintain a current and accurate list of members of the chapter in coordination with the Membership Information Section at PSE headquarters. Ensure that all members are paying dues, render periodical membership reports as required by public school employees of Washington, and perform such other official functions as the President and Board of Trustees may direct. As you can see, Richland Paraeducators is one where the Secretary wears more than one hat. Earlier, I gave you the example that the Secretary could also fill the role of Treasurer, depending on how your bylaws read. So, with Richland Paraeducators, you would also be responsible for being the Membership Officer. This is a good time for me to stress again to go to your bylaws and see how your role is defined. If by chance the role of Secretary is not defined within your chapter's bylaws, then now would be a perfect opportunity to meet with your Executive Board, Board of Trustees, and get the role defined. The process for amending your chapter bylaws should also be defined within the bylaws. It is probably safe to say that people are more likely to volunteer to fill a position if they are aware of the requirements and responsibilities. So let's take a few minutes to see how you can locate your chapter's bylaws.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the short video on how to locate your chapter bylaws. We're going to be accessing the chapter bylaws actually via the internet. So first of all, you actually need to be at a computer where you can access the internet. Obviously, if you're watching this video, chances are you already added a computer with internet access. The other disclaimer I want to throw out there is that you really should make sure it's a computer that has internet access that you have permission to use for this reason. If you're unsure, don't use it. Just err on the safe side and be at a place where you know you have the right to be on the computer accessing this information. We don't want to set anyone up in a difficult situation, so make sure that it's at a location where you're free to use the internet. And let's go ahead and get started. So there's several ways that you can actually access the internet, and it's through a software that's called an internet browser. And there's multiple internet browsers that are out there on the market today. So we're just going to use Internet Explorer as our example because chances are that's the one that most people are familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead over here and double click on Internet Explorer, and that will open it up. And you'll notice that it's defaulting to the home page, pscclassified.org. That's because I have my internet browser set up to have this as the default page. Yours may not, and that's okay. And the biggest thing that you'll have to worry about is actually the address bar. So when you get your internet browser open, make sure you locate your address bar, and what you'll want to do is actually type in the web address. And the web address for the home page is pscclassified.org. Now you do not have to type in the http:// or www. If you simply type in pscclassified.org, it will come up. And I want to show you that actually. So we're going to go ahead and open up another internet browser, and I'm going to go to the address bar again, and I'm going to type in pscclassified.org and hit enter, and you'll see that it will route us right to the home page. There we are. So now that we're at the home page, how do we locate our contracts and chapter bylaws? This video is specifically related to our bylaws, but our contracts are basically stored in the same location. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 bonus, this video. So what you'll do is over here on the right hand side of the web page, you'll see a group of links here. And if you'll see right where I'm hovering right now, it says contracts and bylaws. If you click right on that link, it will redirect you to the page where you'll find your chapter bylaws and contracts. When you get to this page, you'll notice that it is an alphabetical list, so it makes it really easy to locate your chapter bylaws and contract. So down the left-hand column, you actually see the contracts, and down the right-hand column, you'll see the bylaws. Let's just go ahead and look at Aberdeen bylaws since it's the first one on the list. This is just an example. You would actually want to go to your specific bylaws because this is going to tell you what your expected job duties are as the secretary or any other officer that's elected to the chapter. So when this opens up, it's actually in the format that's called a PDF, which basically means it's easy to read. You don't have to worry about different software to try to read it. Now your computer may not have a PDF reader on it, so you can actually go and download that software. It's a very small amount of software, and it's free, and we love free. But basically once you have it downloaded, and it would probably prompt you to download the software if you did not have it. And at the end of the video, I'll actually give you the web address where you can go to download it if you don't have it. But anyways, let's continue on. So we're looking for the job description of the secretary in this particular video. So let's see where that might be related here in the articles. I bet it's in Article 5, the Executive Board and Board of Trustees. So what I'm going to do is actually scroll down to Article 5 and try not to pass it here. One more article to go. Here we go. Article 5. And you'll see a specific section, Section 5.5, Duties. And you'll see there's the President, the Vice President, the Secretary, and that's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and read this section of the chapter bylaws and see what it says. Section 5.5.3, Secretary. The Secretary shall ensure that the minutes of general membership meetings and Board of Trustee meetings are duly recorded and a copy provided to the President for placement in the chapter files. It shall be the duty of the Secretary to keep all records of the chapter, the Board of Trustees, and to perform such other official functions as the President and Board of Trustees may direct. So that's it. In a nutshell, that's your job description as a secretary. The key thing that I need to stress here is actually that you go to your specific chapter bylaws. Not all bylaws are the same. Some may be different. Some chapters may have actually combined their secretary and treasurer into one position. So you may have slightly different job duties based on that second hat you have to wear in your chapter. So go ahead and make sure that you're looking at your specific chapter bylaws. And that basically wraps up this video. I hope this was very helpful, and good luck out there.
Your first role that we need to mention is that you are responsible for taking minutes at chapter and board of trustee meetings. Later in the material, I will share how you would do this, and then you will get the chance to practice what you have learned about taking the minutes. You are also expected to maintain a record of who attended your meetings. A sign-in sheet is a perfect way of doing this. That way you have a record of who came to what meetings, just in case that is needed down the road. One thing that I also want to point out, but it is not noted on your screen, is that as a member of the chapter executive board, you need to be included on leader emails sent to the chapters by the state office. For this reason, it is important you provide the state office with your home email address for this purpose. Another role that you will fill is to read and maintain any correspondence that the chapter may receive, and this may be done at meetings. I would follow up with your executive board to see how to proceed. An example of a correspondence may be a thank you note from a member who has received something from your chapter's Sunshine Committee, or maybe a scholarship recipient. If you recall, we covered in the example of bylaws that read, "It shall be the duty of the secretary to keep all records." You are the historian for the chapter. If you take good minutes and keep sign-in sheets, it will be easier to recall who attended what meetings in order to be prepared for any future controversies. Your meetings will show what action the membership body in attendance has taken. The minutes that you take should contain the substance of the meeting, and yet should be clear, accurate, concise, and informative of what occurred at the meeting. Make sure to also record the name of any special guest or speakers and briefly describe what they spoke about. The minutes should be recording what was done and not what was said at the meetings. Your goal when recording your minutes should be to keep the minutes professional and avoid using flowery description or personal opinions. This will help keep the minutes concise. Remember, your job is not to type up the meetings verbatim. The only thing that needs to be noted, as it was stated at the meetings, are any motions that were made. One way to keep yourself organized before and at your meetings is to have an agenda to follow. Distributing agendas in advance of the scheduled meeting also alerts the membership of what will be covered at the meeting. It is particularly important to send an agenda prior to the meeting when there is an upcoming chapter election, when the chapter will elect convention delegates or ledge conference delegates, if chapter bylaws will be voted on, or for contract ratifications. Of particular importance is alerting members when there is a contract ratification meeting. However, if you are unable to send the agenda prior to the meeting, you should plan to have one available at the beginning of your meeting and be certain to note items that require action to be taken. One of the key items that should be documented in your meeting minutes is the time the meeting was called to order. As this has been mentioned previously, a sign-in sheet is useful to document who attended the meeting. With smaller meetings, such as your executive board, board of trustee, or a labor management meeting, it may be more convenient to document who was absent from the meetings. It is also an excellent idea to note whether the absence is excused or not. One item that should be done at every meeting is the approval of the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. Depending on chapter preference, the minutes can be distributed for review, or your chapter may choose to have them read aloud. No motion is required to approve the minutes, so they are approved by general consent. This action should be recorded in the following fashion. The minutes from the February 21st, 2009 meeting were approved as presented. At any time, you can correct the meeting minutes if errors are noted. This is regardless of the amount of time that has passed. The only restriction to making a correction to the minutes is that unless previous notice has been given, correction of minutes after they have been approved requires a 2/3 vote. What exactly should be captured in the minutes? Your minutes should identify the item of business, highlight the discussion resulting in an action, describe the disposition of the items, be certain to clearly indicate what was done, by whom, and why. Here is an example. If a committee was formed during the meeting, note who was selected, elected to serve, what the purpose of the committee is, and describe any timelines that were given. When documenting motions, make sure that they stand out on the page. They should be worded so they can stand alone. I move that the Board of Directors accept the 2008-2009 operating budget as presented by the Treasurer. Motion made by Sally Jones, seconded by David Green. Motion carried unanimously. As you can see on your screen, there are several ways that you can document the same thing. The important thing is that you document exactly what the motion was, who made the motion, who seconded, and the outcome of the motion. This is a helpful tip. The proper language is, I move that, not, I make a motion that. Aside from a brief explanatory remarks, this is not permissible to discuss the merits of the motion until the motion has been seconded. Oftentimes, a meeting can move at a fast pace with a lot of discussion, so it is not unusual for someone to have a question in regards to what the original motion was. You should be prepared to restate any pending motion verbatim when asked to do so. If your minutes require the individual who made the motion to be named, it is okay to ask the chair of the meeting the individual's names if it was not obtained or known previously. You should also consider starting the practice that the speakers state their name clearly and provide a written copy of any lengthy reports. Before the motion goes to a vote, the chair of the meeting should restate the motion so everyone knows what they are voting on. If the voice vote results are unclear, you can request the chair to conduct the vote by a show of hands. It is possible that a member could ask for a motion to be voted on by secret ballot. PSE provides two ballot styles, a simple motion ballot and an elections ballot. You may request a supply of ballots from your regional office in order to be prepared for this request. Let's take a moment to view what these ballots look like.
Hello everyone, and thank you for watching this video. This video will be a very brief video. Its sole purpose is to show you the two documents that are being talked about in the secretary training. Those two documents are the secret ballot and the PSC election ballot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one, which will be the secret ballot. The secret ballot is going to be used basically when a motion has been made and someone of the members, someone of the membership has requested that the vote be conducted by a secret ballot versus the showing of hands or saying yes or no openly. So that is the first document. The second document is going to actually be the PSC election document. So this document is used to elect positions within the local, and basically what you would do is write in the name of the position, the individual's name here, and then the person using this form would actually check the box that is next to the name of the person they're wishing to vote for. So that does it for this video. It's a very short, brief video. If you have any questions about how to obtain these documents, you can contact your field representative or any of the regional offices.
Let's take a closer look at some details. You want your minutes to follow the order of discussion as listed on the agenda. If your chapter hits on a hot topic and there was a lot of discussion on the issue, it is fine to state in the minutes after lengthy discussion. At the conclusion of the meeting, you should be making a list of the items that need follow-up. There should also be a list of any agenda item that did not get completed and place those on the agenda for the next meeting as unfinished business. Also note items of concern expressed by members that the executive board could take to a labor management meeting. Clearly state the issue, who brought it forward, and note that it could be a labor management discussion item. And finally, your minutes should note the time that the meeting was adjourned. When closing out your minutes, you should sign your minutes and provide your title as the person who actually prepared the minutes. Take note that your signature, name, and title is all that is required. It would be a good practice to get into having your minutes typed up within a few days of the meeting while it is still fresh in your mind. Keep your handwritten minutes to help supplement your typed minutes. Minutes are a legal record of the proceedings and should never be destroyed. Now let's practice taking the minutes. Watch the video and assume the role of secretary for this meeting. Your job is to document what happened. You are not a transcriptionist and should not document everything that is said. The video is only a small section of a meeting and may be conducted more formally than your chapter meetings, so don't be distracted by this. Keep your minutes brief and use the meeting notes outline provided as your guide. You may not be provided with all the information like the call to order time. You may not be able to capture names in this video, so practice on documenting what happened. I'll give you a moment to grab a pen and some paper.
Robert's Rules is fun! Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to the meeting today. My name is Josh, and I'll be facilitating this meeting using Robert's Rules of Order. If everyone would like to introduce themselves real quick.
I'm Hope. I'm Marcy.
I'm Cody.
And I'm Dawn.
Excellent. Today, the purpose of today's meeting is to overview and decide on different things that we would like to add to Gilman's dining offerings. So, I ask that one person speak at a time. Please direct all your comments towards the chair. And if you wish to speak, please stand up and then I will recognize you from the floor. That being said, the floor is open for any motions. Marcy.
I move that we add another flavor of ice cream to the soft serve machine at Gilman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Marcy, would you like to speak to your motion?
I would like to. I'm a big fan of ice cream, and I know a lot of people are at college, so I think another flavor in the soft serve machine would be very beneficial to everyone at college.
Point of information, what kind of flavors do we already have at college?
Would someone like to answer the point of information?
Sure, I would love to. Currently, Currently, we have chocolate, vanilla, and twist in the machine right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other discussion on the main motion? Anything at all?
I'd
Yes,
like
Hope.
to make an amendment to the main motion,
You have the
and
floor.
I'd like to amend the main motion to read that instead of just ice cream, we should add strawberry ice cream to the machine.
Excellent. Would you like to speak to your amendment?
I would.
Point of order.
Yes.
Was there a second to the motion?
Quite right, there wasn't. Is there a second to the amendment?
I second it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hope, would you like to speak to your amendment?
I would. I believe that strawberry would be a great choice of an addition because it's still a very simple flavor and it's one that I think a lot of people like, but it brings a little spice to the machine and it gives us a great new flavor.
D, wait for it. Lightful. Is there any other discussion on the amendment to the motion?
I'd like to make an amendment to the amendment.
You have the floor.
I'd like to make the amendment to the amendment saying that we add coffee to the flavors instead of strawberry, just because I feel like as college students we need a little boost of caffeine every once in a while in our lives, and I think coffee flavored ice cream has the extra boost that we all need.
Thank you, Cody. Is there a second?
Second.
And Cody, would you like to speak to your motion? And please bear in mind, when making an amendment to the amendment, please only make your amendment and then you can follow your rationale after there's a second.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I will speak again if that's okay. I love coffee ice cream and everyone else should too.
Excellent. Is there any other discussion on the amendment to the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment to the amendment to change strawberry to coffee, please say so with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The amendment to the amendment passes, and now the amendment to the main motion reads to add coffee to the flavor of ice cream in Gilman. Is there any discussion on the amendment to the main motion?
I would like to discuss this. I still think that strawberry is a wonderful choice, and I don't think that coffee really suits everybody. So I think that coffee is just not the best flavor that would allow for everyone to get enjoyment out of the new flavor we're adding to the machine.
Thank you, Hope. Is there any other discussion to the amendment to the motion? Cody.
I love coffee. Coffee flavored ice cream is my favorite, and as I've said many, many times before, everyone else should too.
Thank you, Cody. Is there any other pertinent discussion on the amendment to the motion? Yes, Marcy.
I believe that when we're in college that we are not getting the proper nutrition that we typically do, especially as females. We need a lot of calcium in our diets, and I feel that if we make coffee flavored ice cream, people will drink that instead of normal coffee and we'll get the adequate amount of calcium in our diets.
Oh my gosh, I love coffee. Can we all just agree on
Don,
coffee?
if you could please wait until you're called on, and then I will address your comments.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the amendment to the main motion to add coffee to the ice cream flavor? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment to the main motion, please say so with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
The amendment passes and is now the main motion, which now reads to add coffee flavored ice cream to Gilman. Is there any discussion on the main motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adding coffee ice cream to Gilman, please say so with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
The motion passes.
Yes.
God darn it.
That was so much fun.
It's awesome!
Bye!
In addition to viewing this retention record on your screen, you can also download a copy as a resource. Let's leave this up for a moment in order to glance through it. Although this is a recommended retention schedule, remember that you are the historian of your chapter, and even minutes that are several years old can clarify how you got to today. PSE also offers a simplified parliamentary procedure pamphlet that is very helpful for the chair who wants to maintain order during a chapter meeting. While some meetings are very informal, Other meetings will find this pamphlet a great tool to use in conducting an orderly meeting. Thanks again for stepping up for your chapter and filling the role of secretary.